Salaries are tied to assumptions about how demanding the work is. For more than 100 years, teaching was merely women's work. People assumed it required little skill or intelligence.
The female teacher holds her commission from nature. In the well-developed female character, there is always a preponderance of affection over intellect. Horace Mann, 1835.
Most people believed that women were nurturers by nature. Even the education crusader Catherine Beecher, sister of Harriet Beecher Stowe, exalted wives and mothers. But Beecher herself never married, preferring to pursue a career, educating women. She knew women could be excellent teachers. They simply needed more training.
As it is, the employment of teaching children is regarded as the most wearying drudgery. And one cause of this aversion is the utter neglect of any arrangements for preparing teachers for this difficult profession. Catherine Beecher, 1846.
Teachers needed more systematic training. In 1839, Massachusetts opened the first state-sponsored normal school, a college devoted to training teachers. Normal schools elevated teacher preparation to a new level. They stressed pedagogy, the science of teaching. But there was concern that the women not be over-intelligent.
There are certain qualities which are very desirable to a teacher, including a well-balanced mind, free from eccentricities and the infirmities of genius. Mary Swift, Massachusetts, 1839.
Towards the turn of the 20th century, normal schools faltered as colleges and universities took over education courses.
The reason that teacher education developed at the turn of the century, it replaced normal schools, was the hope, really, that education could gain the stature and the social authority that the other professions had. Why it is that the education profession is still considered somewhat less than those other professions has something to do with the way that we think about and value the education of children.
Critics have accused schools of education of having low academic standards. Today, many people believe these standards are rising. But teacher education continues to be hotly debated.
Teacher education programs are undergoing major reform right now. Many of them have really redesigned how they prepare teachers, giving them much more clinical and coursework experience that's relevant to today's needs in children. Others haven't yet, but that's part of the process of reform.
You're going to learn some things about them tomorrow, and they're going to learn some things, and it's not all academic. They're going to begin to learn a little bit about what you expect, what the other kids in the classroom are like.
I think training institutions need to rethink how they train, how early they put people into, quote, the trenches, and what is the reality of some of the training. That it has to move beyond book. It has to move beyond theory.
Since the 1950s to the present, the schools of education have been pointed to as the villains in the educational drama, and that they are preparing teachers who are inadequate to teach in the public schools. Most of the criticisms are made without any facts. The faculties today in schools of education are better trained and have a better knowledge base than at any time in history.
I think most teacher preparation programs focus on the content to be taught, how you teach reading, how you teach history, how you teach math. But the larger questions about trying to really be a moral agent in a school or trying to really be an agent of social change, those kinds of larger themes are rarely addressed in teacher education programs.
What does your character look like? What does he or she act like?
While some argue that universities don't teach about being moral exemplars or agents of social change, teachers grapple with these issues every day.
We came in this year really feeling like we could save every child, and
That was probably one of the hardest things to realize, that there are some that no matter what you do for them, they're probably not going to get very far. And it's not from lack of trying.
Go to the other room. Angela.
Okay, well, ignore him.
February and March, I think, are the lowest months of the school year. They're so anxious, you know, to be so good. And they don't like still having needs, still having things to work on. So we spend a lot of time talking about how that never ends.
What government did they model our state government after, Derek? Alma?
I really thought I'd be able to take the kids further than I feel like I have. I think in a lot of cases, I've probably taken them further than I realize, but I wanted to do so much.
Does anybody know what government our state government was modeled after? No.
I didn't know where they were coming from at the beginning, and now I know the groundwork I need to lay down for them to be able to be successful and do the kinds of things I want to do.
My hypothesis is no, air does not take up space. I'm going to put the paper towel in the water to see if it gets wet. Okay, now let's pull it out. Is that wet or dry, Ashley?
It's dry.
It's dry! What's inside this cup right now?
Paper towel.
A paper towel and air.
I've just had a really hard time keeping, I guess, control. We thought we had them taken care of, and now toward the middle of the year, I'm even having more problems.
That's very interesting, but I'm wondering what it has to do with your assignment. Let's look at it then. You've done your edit check and your final draft? Come here, Courtney.
It's really just trying different techniques that work with the kids, and realizing that what worked last week won't always work this week, and it's something you really have to stay on the ball with.
Courtney, I don't see a final draft.
Michelle, by luck of the draw, has the classroom that we now know is the more difficult classroom. Some of those children are hard for me to control.
We'll do it together.
She's going to be an excellent teacher. And the way it gets better is because she's really digging deeper into the causes for the behavior.
How did Courtney get the book back?
I got it back from James.
I think the support system from, you know, co-teachers as well as Sandy as a mentor teacher has been the greatest thing for me.
Today, Mrs. Warner is going to come in here and do a lesson on equivalent fractions.
And I beat up on myself a lot. And then Sandy will say, you know, let's look at your strong points. You know, where did you go right?
It's a coaching process. I ask key questions. But that's a really scary thing to them right now, is to realize, oh, you don't teach a class. I have to teach 26 or 27 individuals. I think it's part of why you start feeling overwhelmed at this time of the year. You begin to realize how many needs there are.
Are there any clues in that word that might tell you what equivalent means? Jaquet. That you think that it means something about being equal.
And I don't know how she does it, because she's in and out of our classrooms whenever we need her to be. Sandy has played many roles for me this year, not just as a mentor teacher. She's been a friend, and she's just really been there for me this year.
There have been times, honestly, when I just broke down and just cried at home saying, can I do this? I honestly just break down and just say, is this worth it? You know, what about a job that when you come home, that you're actually just home? But it's worth it. It's worth it when you see that people who are making Fs, or in this school U's, but I give them A through F here because they like that, that are now up to, you know, A's and B's. And are really trying hard, that the people that at the beginning of the year thought they were going to fail are now just like working and doing their homework and just different things like that. Knowing that you're making a difference really makes it worth it.
I have my own shelter. I buy my own food. I buy my own clothes. Why would I? What? Love.